Sitting in front of me today is another Seekins rifle. This one is a Havak PH2 or Pro Hunter 2, whichever you'd like to call it. This one is chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor. I'll give you a few of the stats here on it real quick before we go out and shoot it. It does have a 24-inch stainless steel barrel on it. It is fluted, starting out here at the muzzle. I mean, you can see it's got a suppressor on it. It is threaded in 5/8 24. It is a 1 in 8 twist in the 6.5 Creedmoor chambering. The action itself here is the Havak action. So it does have a 20 MOA rail on it. This rail is screwed on. It is not integral like the Element. The bolt on these actions here, let me pop this out. These are a 4-lug bolt on here. M16 style extractor. You can see that is a push button ejector in there. These are their removable bolt heads. It's pretty simple on here. You just grab the back of it, twist it, firing pin and spring all come out. That little pin will come out, and then the bolt head will come out. So, super simple on that. Put it back in. There is an indexing mark right here that has to go right there. Push in, turn, stop at the first click. On the other side of the action, the bolt release is just a hinged push button. It rides inside that track right there on the side of the bolt. So just depress it to put it in or take it out. These actions do have an integral recoil lug machined into the bottom side of the action, and it is bedded into the stock. The stock itself is kind of a polymer with carbon fiber reinforcement in it, so it is super lightweight. These rifles do have an aluminum bottom metal in here. When you get one like this, chambered in, well, either 6 Creedmoor, 6.5 Creedmoor, the 308, they will be set up for AICS pattern mags or the AC762s. If you get a long action like my 7 PRC here, then they will actually come with proprietary mags in them. They're carbon fiber, released the same way, but they are a proprietary size. That way you can seat your projectiles out a little bit longer. These only hold 3. Same thing, like I said, if you get like a 6.5 PRC, they won't fit in an AICS style magazine. So they make their own mags in-house on those other calibers, but for some of these standard short actions, they just give you, like this one's an MDT that comes with it. They spec the weight of these short actions at 6.9 pounds, I believe. When you go to like the long actions, like my 7 PRC, those are going to come in at 7.2 pounds. They do all come with Trigger Tech triggers in them that are adjustable from 5 pounds down to 2.5. I'll get into the backstory on this particular rifle later, but let's go ahead and get outside and we'll shoot this thing, see what we can get out of it for some accuracy. All right, so let's see where this thing is shooting at here. Ooh. That one is quite low here. There we go. Alright, that ought to do it. We'll send a few more here. These first 6 shots that we put on paper here, I was aiming at the center. The very first one landed clear down there. So adjusted the scope, 1 mil up, or 1.5 mil up, 1.5 mil left, shot 5 more rounds. That was one, and I don't remember 3, 4, 5 right there. Which ones were which, but yeah, that was on a clean barrel. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this gun probably does shoot, but we'll shoot a few more groups anyway. Well, those 3 are touching. This one shoots better than my rifle does. At least shoots these better than my rifle does. Let's take a look at the groups we shot so far here. So our initial sight in one, second group, that one on the left was the first shot in those. There's our third group. That tightened up a whole bunch. I think that barrel's starting to get fouled up now. We'll go ahead, aim right there at that point, see what we can do on another group. I think this time we'll go ahead and make this one a 5-round group. I mean, it is just a hunting rifle, but you know, 3-round groups are kind of cheater rifles, so we'll do another 5-rounder up there. Well, 3 of the 4 are touching. Yeah, that was a little bit off the side on that one, but not bad. And that barrel's getting a bit warm too. Like I said, it's just a hunting rifle, but I think this thing's gonna shoot just fine. Now let's look at our last group with this stuff. So those 3, well, technically 4, actually don't look too shabby. That last one, I don't know what happened with that, but I mean, those 4, that's pretty good. That's probably 5/8 somewhere in there. Well, I just threw the suppressor on it, checked to make sure that everything's in line and it looks good. Let's take 3 shots with the suppressor and see what it does. Throw one more down there anyway. Starting to see a little bit of heat distortion coming off the can, but we'll give it number 5. And number 5 went just a little bit out, but still didn't look too shabby. Let's go down and take a look at that. It dropped probably, about 1/2 mil is what it dropped with the suppressor on it. So I'd say kind of average for some of my guns. There's the 5 with the suppressor on there. So those first 4, not too shabby at all. Number 5, she would get a little bit hot. But across the way over here, that 3 shot, so if that was up there, that's, you know, about 2 inches worth of drop right there by putting the can on it, so not too bad. Ran in the house, grabbed some of this Federal Premium Center Strike, is what it is, 140 grainers. Well, I'm going to test this out in my rifle, but we'll go ahead and see what this stuff will do through this one. All right, I'm going to aim at the upper left-hand corner. Well, 2 of them were pretty close, but the one was off. Let's feed a few more through here. One more. That's not too bad. I'll shoot one last 3-shot group here. I got to go on the high right target. That 3-shot group's not too bad. Let's go up and take a look at them. Let's take a look at these groups here. So that was the first set of the center strike ammo. First 4 were pretty good. Number 5, I don't know what happened there. Let's go over to the second one. And those 3, I mean, those 3 are in a half. First 2 are touching. Third one's a little bit low. I mean, that'll do. Yeah, these center strikes didn't shoot too bad either. So, I mean, the gun has shown that with and without the suppressor, I mean, 3-shot groups, you can definitely get sub-half. 5-shot groups, you know, you could do 1 MOA or better. With factory ammo, I mean, with just cheap American gunner, and then, you know, with this Federal, I would bet if we hand loaded for this thing, I mean, you could really make this thing sing. Because, I mean, even though, yes, it's premium ammunition, I mean, I'll say we can tune it to the gun a little bit better with hand loads, and I normally get a little better SDs with hand loads than what we get from, you know, just factory stuff. But I think this gun's got it. I mean, it'll shoot just fine. The wind is picking up on me a little bit here, but even though we're going to go ahead and I'm going to hang up another target, we'll shoot a few more groups with that Hornady American gunner. So our last 3 groups here. That one's doing all right. That one did great. And that one did pretty good too. So I'm going to go ahead and say that rifle's definitely a shooter. I think with some hand loads, this thing would really be something. So, my final thoughts on this thing and some backstory to it. I think overall, I mean, the gun functioned just fine. I mean, you've seen the 3-shot groups, especially the last ones. I mean, they looked pretty good. I mean, can I duplicate that one? Probably not. I probably got lucky on that one. That was a dang good group. But the other ones, I mean, this thing is definitely capable of some 1/2 to 5/8 MOA. I think it's going to do really well. I mean, especially if you hand loaded for it. Overall, I mean, this thing functioned well. I never had one feeding issue. I even tried hand loading in. Some guns do not like to be hand loaded. Like my Ackley Improved, you cannot single load some stuff in there. This gun doesn't do too bad, just dropping it in and flicking it forward. I mean, it functioned just fine that way. I mean, overall ergonomics are good on it. I mean, it's a solid rifle. I do like these things. In fact, I like the Pro Hunter better than I like the Element series. You know, I like that little bit more weight that the package actually offers to it. Helps set the thing down. The barrel profile on it, you can tell, is definitely just a smidgen heavier. On an Element, the barrel, if you go to feel it after 3 or 4 shots, it's quite hot. On this one here, I mean, you can do 5 shots, and, you know, it's still a little bit cooler than what my Element is at 3 or 4. So, I mean, that extra material in there definitely helps out. I'll say the backstory on this gun is this is not mine. A guy bought this gun, got a whole new setup, you know, not this scope, this is my scope, but bought the rifle, some ammunition, put a brand new scope on it, takes the thing home, starts shooting it, and says that, you know, it's only doing, you know, at best, he said 1 3/4 to 2 inch groups, and average was like 3 to 4 inch groups out of it. So, you know, I take the rifle, let's check to see if this thing's shooting or not. you know, as you can see with the targets, I think with this setup, I mean, it's definitely shooting. I mean, I know that this scope works. This is actually the scope off my competition rifle. It is currently at the gunsmith, getting a new barrel put on it because I burned it out. So I had this thing sitting here, and I know that this thing tracks. You know, I know it's solid. It's been good for me. So I decided to throw this thing on there. That's why we also shot it with and without the can on there. Because, I mean, sometimes that matters. You put a muzzle brake on it, and I have seen some rifles just absolutely fall apart getting certain types of muzzle brakes put on it. And then you put that same muzzle brake on a different rifle, and it shoots just fine. I mean, barrel harmonics are weird like that. But it shot with or without the suppressor on there. I mean, overall, I'm pretty happy with this thing. I think that he definitely probably had an optic problem. I believe he did say that he had a hard time getting it, you know, adjusted to zero up. I don't know if that was because of group size or if it was actually because of the optic itself, but I'm betting he had an optics problem and not a barrel problem. So, or I should say a rifle problem. I mean, I checked all the screws on the thing. Everything was tight. That part should be good to go. I mean, the bedding on it looked good. I mean, I definitely think that it was a scope issue. On these lightweight hunting style rifles, I mean, it's debatable whether you ought to judge it by 3-shot groups or 5-shot groups. I mean, in the target world, yes, a 3-shot group is definitely a cheater group, and that's why, you know, when you see me doing load development, most of the time on those guns I'm doing 5. But on guns like this, I mean, it is not meant for that. This is, like I said, I mean, the rifle itself is just under 7 pounds. It's not going to be able to do 10-shot strings. So, and you could tell the 3-shot groups were good. The 4-shot groups maybe opened up, and the 5th one on a couple of those, you could see, yeah, it opened up. Whether, how much of that's the rifle and then how much of it is, you know, heat coming off the can. That's one thing I will say is heat distortion off them cans. I don't care what barrel profile you have. These things just wick heat right out of them and you start getting distortion out of it. I don't care what caliber, what barrel profile. I mean, those things just bleed heat right off of them pretty quick. So, but, I mean, it was definitely acceptable to me. It is a hunting rifle, and you have to remember that. So, hopefully you liked today's video. I know I had fun making it. I mean, shooting this thing was pretty fun. I mean, kind of got me jealous. I wish my rifle shot as good as this one here. But, you know, it is what it is. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.